G'day, g'day. We're back here again, this time with my buddy Neutron. And this is his first chance, with his first time playing Baldur's Gate, is that correct?
I played a hold of about 5 minutes.
Perfect. Alright. Let's get him started.
I'm guessing we go here.
Yep. So gender basically has no effect on the game, outside of romance options later on. In which case, most of them are available only to men. And yeah, there are some great portraits.
That guy looks like a nerd.
He's actually one of the art directors, I believe. Half of these portraits were made from people who made the game.
So he's definitely a nerd. Okay, gotcha.
Alright.
Great.
For now, I suggest picking elf or half-elf, just so we get all the different options. But specialized options depend on what class you're going to play. But some races don't have many options for classes, like halflings and dwarves typically can't do much beyond being fighters and thieves. But yeah, and clerics. But as you see, each race has a different function. So if you go like right to the top, the human is able to dual class. It's the only race that can. So dual classing and multi-classing we'll get into later on, but generally it's rare to play a straight human. I believe also there are certain classes that only humans can be, like paladins, which is silly. Half-elves, good for multi-classing, basically little elves. Elves are great. Elves are awesome. So they are almost completely immune to charm and sleep magic. They have an extra to hit bonus with bows, short swords, and long swords, which is what you'll mostly be using. I very nearly played one of these for my thief character in my playthrough. Don't mind about the -1 constitution. That's a bit less health, but you get more dexterity, which means more armor class. If you're playing a straight mage or a straight thief, elf is probably your best move. Yeah, do you want to skip through to the half-orcs are great. We only got them recently, as in, well, I say recently, when the second game came out in 2003, I think, or something. So, recently. Recently for me.
Before I was born still.
These are great, because intelligence is pretty much a dump stat, unless you're playing a mage. So, being able to hit really hard and have more health is good. Gnomes make great mages. They're kind of a bit funky and weird, but they get the shorty bonuses. So just for these three here, dwarf, halfling, and gnome, they're short, and so they get better chances to save. See where it says saving throws? These are really important. Saving throws allow you to survive magical effects and traps. Yeah, so the gnome is more oriented towards being a mage. The halfling more oriented towards being a rogue, like a thief and stuff. Dwarves make some of the best fighters in the game. They have good saving throws and things, but also heaps of health, and they're great. So they're all good sort of classes. So to pick the right race you want, think of what class, what kind of work do you want to be doing?
I reckon mage sounds fun.
All right. So the most obvious answer is just say go elf. If you click on elf, see it says -1 constitution. So normally the maximum score for anything is 18, and if you've got a +1 dexterity, it says you can get up to 19 dexterity. For any class that's not a warrior, there is no point having more than 16 constitution. You basically only need 16. So there's essentially no penalty here. The extra to hit and everything else with short swords, well, that'll be daggers and stuff, but it's just mostly a good idea. You could look at the gnome. So the gnome will force you into being an illusionist. So you'll lose one school of spells. We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here. But in short, that +1 intelligence isn't really a huge bonus, but you do get the shorty bonuses. And I could have sworn I turned off my Discord stuff. I can't really mute it now because we're recording, but I got a little charm then. A little thing. Elf is probably your best option for a mage.
I can show you how to edit your audio later if you want to.
Yeah, I've got someone hassling me. I'm guessing that it's Puck. I would almost guarantee it. If I could reach my phone, I would tell him off, but I can't. So hopefully he'll go away soon. Okay.
Thief.
Yes, these are great. I highly recommend playing a multi-class, particularly if you're going to solo, although you're not. You're going to play this game properly and sensibly like I didn't. Okay, let's just start from the top. I'd recommend just scroll back to human and select the human race, so I can show you all the classes in sequence. Okay. So the first, yeah,
bunch more.
there's heaps of classes. So starting off with the fighter, and also there are actually kit classes within classes, right? So if you click, say, fighter here, fighters are the ultimate at fighting up close. They wear all the armor, get grand mastery weapons, they're great. They got plenty of hit points. This is what you want to do if you want to hit someone with a sword properly. If you click done, yeah, now you get these kit classes, which add even more complexity. If I have to go through all the different kits, we'll be here for an hour. I'm happy to do that because they're actually really excited. The kits make this game, but it's a lot of information. So let's just go through the basic classes first, and then we'll come back to it. So fighter is for smacking people really hard, having good armor. Ranger, I don't recommend playing a ranger because they're just not as good as fighters, but they do have some sort of priest spells later on. They can dual wield a little easier, but then the fighter does that better. So there's not... And they can technically hide, but they can't use backstab. They're an interesting class, but I so seldom play them. I find them pretty underwhelming. Paladins are amazing. So paladins, much like the ranger, aren't quite as good at fighting as a fighter, but they get priest spells, they have some really cool abilities, and there's lots of gear in the game that are specific only to them. So my first character... that I finished the game with was a paladin. They're very survivable, but you must be human, and on balance, I'd say a fighter's probably a better deal in the end, but yeah. Clerics are awesome. Clerics they can cast priest spells, so, well, I should say divine spells. Divine spells are normally healing, buffing, and disabling spells, whereas magic is actually everything, like everything I just said, but also massive power and damage. But clerics...
Fireball.
You want to play a sorcerer or a mage. So a cleric, I'll run through these quickly. The cleric can wear like full plated armor. They can't use bladed or piercing weapons, so they have to use hammers and things. But that said, some of the best weapons in the game are flails and hammers. So playing a fighter cleric, for example, is basically a brick of buffing, smashing goodness. And it was a close follow-up for what I was going to do before. Druids are generally not considered not as good as a cleric. They can't wear as good weapons, or can't wear good weapons. They can't wear the armor as well. They have to use like simpler armor. They can't use most weapons. Their spells are a little more offensive, and they can shapeshift, which is amazing. Some of their kits are really cool. But it's more for coolness that you'd play a druid. Technically, they are less effective. There's some reasons to that. But I love playing a druid. And if I could ever play a druid thief, I would jump at it, but we can't. Okay, the mage, where to start? So notice at the bottom it says your hit die. It says D4. That's how many hit points you get per level. A fighter was 10, and technically there's like like the barbarian is 12 or something. But yeah, if you scroll down to barbarian for a sec, you actually get a D12. That's the highest. Yeah. So playing a barbarian like dwarf, you have almost as many hit points as you could possibly manage, besides some very weird edge cases. But the mage is squishy, vulnerable, can't fight very well, and can't hide, but can bring down absolute mage fire, and they are brilliant. They start off as the weakest class, and they wind up being the best class. You need a mage. I mean, technically, you need a mage to finish the game, like the second game. It's not entirely true. You can finish with a monk if you want, but it's the mage is where, like, knowing your spells, the difference between playing a fighter and a mage, beyond just the obvious ones, is a fighter carries their abilities with them all the time. They can always hit someone and smash them. A mage has to bring power through their spells and buffs and maneuvering to be any good, but they can be far more powerful. They just have to be ready for it. I would not recommend playing a mage first time, only because you only have a small number of slots, and juggling what those spells are can be a bit of a pain. The sorcerer below, you want to skip to him, is almost identical to a mage, but you don't have to learn spells from scrolls. You pick the spells you want as you level up, and you can use... Essentially, you'll get, say, like 5 level 1 spells. Well, you can have any of your 5 spells cast. They have less flexibility, but more simplified spell casting and more spells. Overall, if you know what you're doing, a mage is more powerful, but a sorcerer is far more useful and far more intuitive. And there are some guides to say which spells you want. The problem is, you won't be able to use spells that you don't memorize unless you find scrolls for them and sort of stash them. So it's a question there. Thieves are my favorite. So thieves, being able to break locks open, break traps, set traps, hide, detecting illusions, all that sort of stuff. This is really useful. That's why in my run I'm playing a mage thief, a specialized mage thief, because basically that means I can do everything. It means I'm weak early on, but I develop into my skills as the game sort of continues. Backstabbing is great. Set snare is even better. And yeah, thieves are awesome. They're not very good fighters. Like, they carry daggers and they do backstabs, but you need to be fighting with some kind of advantage. You can't just walk into a fight and obliterate it. That's what the fighter is for. So you need to have a thief in your party. I recommend having a thief in your party. And you need to have a mage in your party. Everything else is kind of optional. Recommend having a cleric too, but you'll find them. The bard's a weird one. People love the bard because essentially some of their kits are incredible. They have the bard's song ability, which gives essentially, as long as the character's not doing anything overt, they can sort of walk around, but they can't attack or cast spells. Bard's song improves the abilities of all your party. So in big parties, a bard is useful, and they're not bad in combat either. They're slightly better than thieves are, but they don't have the thieving abilities besides pickpockets, which is the one you don't really want. They have great spells though, and the thing is, each of these classes have a different speed of leveling up. Mage is the slowest, and Thief and Bard are the fastest. So the Bard can actually cast mage spells. They can't wear armor while doing this, but a Bard with the same number of experience points at the same point in the game as your mage will be far, far further leveled up. They won't have as many spells, they can't level up to as high the spell levels, like they can only have simplified spells, but because they've cast them at a really high level, and definitely ahead of the rest of the game, so there are some really useful things. Like their fireball is going to do more damage than a mage's fireball once they can both do it, which is weird, I know. The sorcerer we discussed. The monk, don't play a monk. Monks are awesome because they're essentially martial artists who beat a game where there are dragons, and they can move quickly, they can't use armor, can't use weapons. They can use some weapons, but single-handed ones only, and they're interesting. At the end of the game, their fist attack does more damage than any weapon in the game. That's a 1d20 damage roll there from level 15. Ooh. A two-handed sword is a 1d10. But the first... Okay, one thing too, in the original Baldur's Gate, you didn't have monks. And so the monk is not designed to fight from level 1. You're designed to start the second game at level 6, or at least level 5, and quickly get levels. These things... How to describe it? They're basically just fighters. So they have the same limitations of basically needing to fight things up front, but they have massive problems. The main problem is you can't wear helmets, and so if you get a critical hit as a monk, you're probably going to die, or you take massive damage. At extremely high levels, that magic resistance you see there per level is really good. They can basically shrug off spells, they can run away from things, they can sneak as well, but they can't do the like a full backstab. Quivering Palm is brilliant though, because it can blow through certain enemies and just straight up kill them. Stunning Strike, you can disable enemies. At some point in my life, I will do a monk solo playthrough at the same rules I'm playing currently, but it is generally considered the worst class. Essentially, you'd be better off playing a fighter, because you can use more items, or better off playing a thief, and just be, yeah. And whatever you do, don't play a bloody shaman. Shaman was added so recently that I haven't really played much with it, but just reading through it, it's essentially it's a druid that can cast intuitively like a sorcerer. They have to stand still and dance to sort of conjure spirits to help them. They've got some interesting late level abilities too. I can't see the point in them. It seems like, I mean, the druid already feels a bit like it needs some kind of boost, and the shaman doesn't really help much. And the funny thing is, like with the sorcerer, you'll get more castings per level than a mage. So you would think the shaman would get more castings per level than a druid, but they don't. They sacrifice the flexibility and the spell slots. So those two on the bottom run there, probably skip them out. So yeah, that's me doing a brief summary of all the major classes. I'm happy to go through the kits, but it's going to be like a fair bit longer.
Okay, so sorcerer or fighter?
Okay, if you play level 1, sorcerer at level 1 is going to be able to throw a couple of spells around, but playing a mage on the first levels is particularly difficult. That said, if you're playing with a party, they will protect you. So if you're going to play a sorcerer, highly recommend playing an elf. So a dwarf won't be able to play a sorcerer. So you see here, like, the dwarf can't.
Fighter.
Okay, yeah, dwarf fighter, you want to kick ass, don't you? Okay, so of the options here, they also have a special one, the Dwarven Defender. So that's really cool. So a basic fighter is up there. Still a good option. Nothing wrong with a fighter. Do you want to start with the Dwarven Defender or the Berserker?
Let's start with Berserker.
Berserkers are generally considered the best. Berserker, so first, let's start with the negatives. What are we giving up? So if you scroll down to the bottom of that one, you can't specialize in ranged weapons, which is fine because it doesn't account for throwing axes and throwing daggers. Yeah, that's right. It has to be non-lawful, that's okay. And you get winded after raging, but that's cool. Basically, when you go Berserk, you're immune to so much stuff that is game-ending. This is the go-to class to start with for playing a solo run, because you press that rage button and suddenly all his abilities, like Charm, Fear, and everything, and even like Level Drain, Maze, Imprisonment, these are really advanced high-level abilities that you can just ignore because you're so angry. Like, you just refuse to accept that magic exists. Generally considered the most...
Like me in a bad mood.
Yeah, exactly. No. Well, they're very devoted. That's how I would characterize you. The Berserker dual classed to a mage is generally considered the most powerful build you make in the game, and that is pretty much consistent across the way. So you would start as a human fighter, dual class, a human Berserker, and then a dual class at a certain level to a mage. But dual classing is its own black magic, so we'll get to that. Wizard Slayer, not so good. The idea is incredible. Each hit you make against an enemy, including ranged attacks now, will reduce their ability to cast spells. After 3 hits, they have like a 3 in 4 chance of failing, and then finally on that 4th hit, they can't cast spells. So if you can land 4 attacks on a mage, as long as they hit, you will make them impossible to spellcast, and they get magic resistance per level. Problem is, they can't use magic items apart from weapons and armor. So that +2 swords, no worries. But if you want to try and wear an improved buckler or gauntlets, they can't. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend. Kensai are freaking cool. Don't play one from the first level of the game or solo. So Kensai will do the most damage out of any class in melee weapon, guaranteed, pretty much. Outside of some weird shit you can do with backstabs and thieves and shape change. The Kensai is essentially a monk with a sword. Here's what if you picture a samurai, that's it. They're really fast. The Kai ability means that every attack they land does maximum damage. So if you're using a 1d10 katana, because of course you would be, you'll do 10 damage, and then whatever else is happening. They can't use gauntlets, braces, they can't use armor, and while they do have a +2 bonus for armor class, notice it doesn't really increase. You need some way to give yourself armor. A mage has to buff you, or you have to be that mage. The other grand build is playing a Kensai duel to a mage, because a mage is quite happy to be not wearing armor. It has spells to do that. The Kensai is incredible, and actually a Kensai duel to a thief is also devastating, but yeah, Kensai is good. Dwarf Defender, haven't used this one before because this is pretty new. Dwarves, you already have heaps of health. The cool thing here is its defensive stance. Not only does it give you a bonus to saving throws, but also it does slow you down. Notice that, a 50% movement penalty. So finding choke points is good here. But for 1 turn, you gain 50% resistance to all physical damage. And then if you look below that, it says you gain 5% resistance just generally outside of that ability every 5 levels. Makes it very easy to hit a point where your armor class isn't what you're worried about. You're able to essentially ignore large percentages of physical damage, and when you can couple that with other abilities, you're essentially invulnerable for that duration. I don't like abilities which slow me down, but then I like playing a mage and thief that runs around throwing traps behind him, so it's different. Barbarian is great. Barbarian are faster. They generally, being immune to backstab is cool. Their rage is similar to a Berserker. It's not as good in some ways, but you use it more often, and there isn't a penalty like being winded afterwards. A Barbarian is a great first choice for a character. The extra health is good. You gain some resistance as well. I love Barbarians. I actually played one when I was a kid, and like playing a Barbarian Dwarf or a Barbarian half Orc, you're in for some massive damage. I think too, One thing it says here, you may not exceed specialization, so that second mark up there. So you've got like sort of 5 potential ranks in a weapon. So first rank is proficient, which is what most classes can get. Second is specialization, which is what any warrior can get, or a multi-class with a fighter. And that one does the most work. You get a lot of bonus points for that. The next 3, mastery, high mastery, and then grand mastery, do give you bonuses, but they aren't all that critical. So the good thing about a barbarian is that because you're only spending 2 points per weapon class, you can diversify and have lots of different weapon types available to you. You find a good hammer, yeah, you got points for that, So Barbarian is if you want to play the simplest possible class to play, Barbarians are just probably the easiest thing to play. If bad things are happening, hit the rage button and smash them. Berserker takes a bit more nuance, but you get to keep your full plate armor, whereas Barbarians can only go as high as Splint. But I think a Barbarian's got the extra speed. I would say the simplest class to play is a Barbarian.
I'm trying to decide between Berserker and Defender.
I would easily go Berserker in that sense, because whilst the Dwarven Defender will have more health and is better defensively, you need to kill what's trying to kill you. And a Berserker will rage, walk up, and shank whatever's fighting them. Yeah, this one... Just go back for a second and I'll briefly explain how this works. But yes, that's what I would suggest you players. So essentially there are two lenses. So first is good, neutral, evil. And the second is lawful, which you can't see here because you're playing a Berserker. Lawful, neutral, and chaotic. So essentially good, neutral, evil is good, you care about other people. Neutral, you know, indifferent. And evil is you will do things that harm others, you know. And that's a pretty simple run through. The lawful, neutral, chaotic is more interesting. So lawful characters care about the laws in the society. So lawful evil, for example, would still be evil, but they would use the law to their advantage. Chaotic neutral is completely manic and just nuts and do whatever they feel like at a moment's notice. It's the most freeing, but also the most sort of unreliable alignment. Yeah. Pick whatever you like. One thing, it does set your starting reputation, so higher values do make things cheaper, which I think is silly, but chaotic evil, if you want to roleplay evil, then just say you're evil, man. Some weapons and armor and some equipment require you to be a certain type of character. Playing evil in this game is somewhat tricky, but also is definitely rewarded with certain items and abilities and things. So yeah.
I'll go neutral. My first one.
Okay, this is the bit that sucks, and like this is why I skipped this when I made my character. You have to sit there, re-roll to see a good number, like ideally something like a 90, and you could be here for ages. Playing a warrior 2, your strength has a weird thing going on. Yeah, go with that one. I mean, you could be here for days, and I'm not kidding. If I were you, I would get EE Keeper and edit your score, because this is where the madness sets in. So anyway.
Just stored a 75 of my 84.
What will definitely happen too is you will be doing this for ages. You see a 90 and then guaranteed you'll roll past it.
Yep, I did that last time.
Yep, and then and that's why I've done my time. I use EE Keeper. I'm a cheating guy, but just I need to not do this for 12 hours straight, particularly when I'm streaming. So if you want to just recall the number you had before, see, the madness is set in. All right, so drain your charisma. Just drain that down to nothing, and your intelligence down to 8. Oh wow, you're playing a half orc.
Intelligence 0.
Excellent. Oh,
I'll go to 0.
Okay, let me explain, and cut your wisdom to pieces as well. So, no, seriously. I mean, how wise? When I was a kid, I had like someone's dad was saying to me, a smart fighter would actually be at a disadvantage if you think about it. So the only weird thing you're seeing right now is, hang on, why is my strength 18/70? This is only a thing for... No, yeah. So 18/70 basically means for warrior classes, that is like a percentage added after the main strength. So it's out of 100. 70 is a good score. Essentially, you're going to find a book at some point which gives you a +1 strength, and it won't matter. Wisdom does absolutely nothing. You may as well dump it to the earth. Intelligence will be useful only when fighting. Yep.
Like, I've got the 3 that I care about to max, and I have 23 points.
Yeah, well, this is why playing the class you're playing is great too. So, dexterity sets your armor class. Being a dwarf, you get a -1 to that, but that's not the end of the world. You'll get that back. Armor class and also throwing weapons accuracy. Constitution is your hit points. At 20, you get the ability to regenerate health slowly, and as you get higher than that, it gets faster and faster. So with one book, by the way, these books I'm talking about, the tomes you find in the game, you use them on your character, you get a +1 to that attribute. Once you hit 20 Constitution, you can rest for like 5 minutes and you'll get your health back, roughly. Intelligence, your character does nothing at all. Intelligence only affects your ability to cast spells and learn spells, and also your lore ability to identify items. If I were you, I would just dump it all into charisma, and then the rest into intelligence. The only time intelligence matters is if you're fighting mind flayers, where your intelligence becomes your hit points. So that's not for a long time. There are other counters, but walking around with 3 intelligence is dangerous. Wisdom has no effect on your game. I thought for years that Wisdom was your spell save versus throw. It's not. So that's how I'd play your character right there.
How useful is Charisma, given that I'm chaotic neutral and don't care about anyone?
It'll set the prices for things. Having high charisma is good. 16 is fine, and you'll get an item that'll improve that in no time. So, skills. All right, now because you're playing a berserker, you can put 4 points if you want in. So if you wanted to, yeah. So I would recommend specializing. So 2 points in something is really, really good. So if I pick a weapon type, there's no.
Longbow, I reckon.
Yeah, longbow's good.
Oh, I can only go to 1.
Oh, that's because you're playing a berserker. Can only be proficient in ranged weapons. But there are throwing axes and there are throwing daggers as well. Some basic rules here. Would recommend not putting points into katana or scimitar early on, because in the first game there aren't that many. There are some, but it says they're very rare in Baldur's Gate, but they're very good. They do. A katana does the same damage as a two-handed sword, but with one hand, and they're glorious. What I would do before you click done, scroll down to the very bottom. You've got weapon styles here. Investing early makes sense for your character. You're going to be hitting things pretty well. So carrying, say, 2 axes, so putting points in 2 weapon style. So you could wipe your point from longbow, because you're not going to really use longbow if you're... Well, you might, that's the thing. Flexibility is good. There are throwing axes.
Shooting stuff.
Well, there are throwing axes, and you'll be able to be specialized in that. And specialization really improves. You get an extra half attack, which sounds weird, but makes sense. Extra to hit, extra damage. You want to be specialized in the weapon you're using as much as you can. One thing to bear in mind is certain enemies require blunt weapons to do serious damage too. So if you're fighting skeletons, you want to have something maybe in mace or quarterstaff flail.
I've got 2 for axe, 1 for mace, 1 for 2 weapon.
Yeah, 2 weapon style, you won't be using that for a while until you get at least 2 points in it, because having a -2 in your main hand and minus... Yeah, definitely. So 2 axes is totally fine. I should say, the character you're playing, you will hit the rage button, run through your enemy's spells, and smash them to bits in seconds. 2 weapon style is going to help you with that. So, yeah, being able to start...
I want to do like a Count Dooku thing. Just all of the axes at once.
I guess the thing, too, for your character is... Like, it's interesting. Like, if you're playing with a party, you'll have people backing you up and all that kind of stuff. So that'll really help.
Not like Black of Night. No.
Oh, I can't hear your game.
Oh.
That's all right. That's all right. We sort of know all the different sounds.
Yep, aggressive, that sounds about right. Name.
This is the hardest part for me, because you're going to be staring at that name for the whole game. Rowan. I like it. You can also change your portrait later on, so that's fine. You'll be gaining weapon proficiency points as you go very quickly. So you'll be able to diversify. Yep. All right. I play on core rules for you, although I play with SCS, so it's a different thing. But for you, play on normal. That'll help you out a little bit.
Do I need to go through this?
Well, you should know what you're doing, but later on that'll be fine. So that's Winthrop's Inn, and I'm not going to ruin the experience, but basically you can buy the equipment you'll need from him. You got to be nice to Winthrop, man.
Yes, I want
Two
axe.
2 axes.
2 axes.
Yep, and grab some throwing axes too. You better chuck them.
How do I grab multiple? 2, 4.
So it'll be 20 axes, yeah. And now grab the best armor you can afford.
That'll be done.
58. You should be able to buy something, even if it's just leather armor.
Oh, hang on. I looked at the wrong thing. Never mind. I thought this was what I had.
So really want splint mail. You might be able to complete the Candlekeep this area here and come back and buy. But yeah, definitely buy a helmet.
Helmet.
Well, you can't
Should
use
I
a
grab a shield?
Nah, you'll be using two axes. So I would hold off. Oh, and I'm gonna help you cheat a little bit. Scroll down and just grab one thing of bolts,
Yeah.
just for no good reason at all. Just yeah, just trust me. Um,
Should I grab?
there's nothing else I'd grab there, honestly. All right, so if you go press your inventory, which is on the left, or it's the I key. That's a little bag. There we go. You've been watching someone play this game, haven't you?
That's
Yeah, ditch
important.
that.
I'll put that there. 'Cause
Oh, so for dual wielding, you want to put the other axe. Yeah, there you go, and sort of select the first axe on the left. There we go. Now, okay, oh my god, your chance to hit with that lead axe is about as good as my mage thief is at the level I'm at. So you are ready to smash people. You'll do 6 to 13 damage. You'll hit pretty regularly. It's a great setup.
who's this person?
Oh, they're the tutors. They'll teach you how to play the game, but you've got me for that.
So what you say?
You could, but then that would go very badly. Oh my god, did you save? Ah, here we go. This is what happens when you go against a mage. Get him, Firebead. Panic? So he's got you horrid. Okay, so you lose control of your character. Melf's acid arrow, yep. So now you take 6 damage. You resisted some damage because you're a dwarf, I think? I don't know, actually. Magic missiles. Okay. Alright. And that's how you play Baldur's Gate, mate. You are ready to go. And yes, there is a prologue save. If you want to change your portrait, go up to records, which is a little sideways face on the left there. Oh, sorry, left. The
On the left.
middle
Sideways. Face.
there. Go customize. I'm guessing you'll want to change how your character looks. And yeah, you can pick.
Yeah.
That's you. That's you. Alright, you've got a character that is optimized to spell. Yeah, that's the game. Alright, so
Battle axe times 2. Throwing axes. Give me 4.
I would suggest with armor, I'd hold off and just buy some armor before you leave. You should have enough to do that. Oh, you got 100 gold this time. That's interesting. Yeah, so I would hold off. I would wait until you can afford splint.
Should I buy a helmet?
Totally. Yeah, helmets don't improve your armor class. They just mean you're immune to critical hits. So that's very good. There we go. And brilliant. So if you go over to that little chest top right in that room, yeah. So you try to open it, it'll be locked. But because you're so strong, click your lead axe. So the first axe on the left. Click it again so it goes red. And hit the, yeah, smack it. And you successfully forced the lock open. So yeah, you can kind of thief as well. You should be able to sell some of that stuff to Winthrop. I think you can. So yeah, they're red because you can't use them because, well, yeah, you're a barbarian. We're a berserker, I should say. Oh, you can't sell them to him. I would walk around, try and loot things, but yeah, get yourself some good armor, and then you're kind of on your way. I probably should finish up my recording here, but I am keen to see how your playthrough goes, and Baldur's Gate is multiplayer, so at some stage, if you wanted to do a playthrough on YouTube of us playing together, that'd be great, but yeah, it's a great game. And there are so many little things. Oh, by the way, the most important key in the game is the spacebar key to pause the game. Oh, actually, before you go, go to your options on the left there, the little cog at the bottom of that stack of options. Go gameplay. Go auto pause on the left there. Okay, so we want when. So no. If your character's dead, it's too late. Enemy sighted on the right. Spell cast, even for your character, and trap found. So I'll probably wipe the left one, at least injured and hit, because that'll just be annoying after a while. Just wipe them. You'll know to pause. So if you go done now, yep. So press the space bar. Notice everything goes black and white. That's like a paused. You can decide what you're doing. This game is sort of real time and also turn-based.
Yep.
So the other important button, so it's spacebar to pause. The other important button, oh, there you go. Now just hold for a second. The other important button is the Q key.
Q. Okay. What does
Very
Q do?
useful. Q is the quick save button, and you're going to do it now because if you don't, you're going to regret it. Okay, now walk into the next room and steal everything.
Into this room.
Yeah, why not? Oh, bottom right, you see there's 3 icons? The top one, click that. That will expose all interactable.
okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Nobleman. How do I use both attacks? Like
Uh,
both hands?
it will. It'll always use the second attack. The reason your axe disappears when you click the second... are you really going to kill that nobleman?
What?
Oh my god. Broken weapon. Okay, this is... Okay. So, crack that open if you can.
Break it.
Yes, so the story of this game is that there's an iron crisis and certain weapons aren't very good. The moment you find a magical axe, you're fine and it'll be okay. But yeah, it's a problem. I can't believe you are playing the character you've made though. Let's see what happens when you try and steal from here. I believe some of these will have...
Some of these had people in them, but they were asleep, so I just left them.
Yeah.
I could have murdered them. Do you want
So
me
you
to
need...
go back and murder them?
Look, not really.
There's another nobleman up here.
I mean, I quite like your sort of class consciousness, but geez, man. Now let's see if any guards got summoned, because they might have been. No, normally when you steal from that chest on the right side, guards get summoned, but by straight up murdering them, they don't get summoned. And no one here knows what you've done, so that's great.
Yep.
Look,
That was
it's a
my
nobleman.
plan. Silently murdered them.
I'm kind of glad you're not a mage, because if you kill someone with magic, it's just so much worse. But yeah, I recommend just walking around, playing the game as you go, make mistakes, enjoy the game. It's a masterpiece. Like I said, I've played it since I was a... Yeah, don't fight him.
How do I talk? That's talk.
Actually, I wonder how you'd go fighting him. You might just do it with rage.
How do
Quick.
I rage?
Okay. The bottom row is your abilities. The far right is a little star. That's your special abilities. That's your rage. You trigger it. Now, you'll get 15 extra hit points when the rage finish.
Water stuff there.
Well, that might be useful later on if you're going to hit like skeletons and stuff. But yeah, probably get rid of that.
Okay, well, may as well have it up there.
Yeah, let's see if you can kill that Watcher, because if you can, you'll get some plate armor, and probably you'll drive the whole place aggressive, so maybe don't do it. But
I need to buy a new
axe.
just- Mine broke for some strange unknown reason.
Yes, well, that's part of the plot. Eventually, you get to fix that. But yeah, normal items, and also your enemies. See, I also play with different mods. Maybe buy 2. Oh, hang on, you've got freeze. Yeah, actually, you've got enough now to buy some good armor as well. So buy some. Splint is the best armor you can wear for you, and you know chain is almost as good. So if you pop that on, let's see if you can kill a Watcher. You probably can. That's the terrifying part of it.
Any point keeping broken weapon?
Nah, just chuck them on the ground. And-
nice. I can sell the dagger. And sell the necklace and the ring.
Beautiful. You got your quarterstaff out, but I'm pretty sure... Yeah, incidentally, if you're going to engage in wanton murder, highly recommend you quick save first. You get to enjoy the murder, but also walk back on it.
How do I undo a quick save?
L,
Okay.
which you don't have in real life, just so we're clear, Neutron. If you murder someone in real life, there's... Also, what are those things on the left there? I reckon they're like prayer boxes or something, like you can go up there and pray, or shrines or something, but I have no idea what they are.
If only there was a person up here, I'd use your prayer boxes for murder.
Oh my god. Alright, let's see how you go with your first fight. I'll show you how that one works too.
In here?
Yeah.
Well, it's not actually technically my first fight.
Actually, to talk to Fuller. He probably has a quest for you. Any errands I could run? Yeah. And then he wants some crossbow bolts, which your good mate Tempest told you to grab. So that's good too.
Yeah, I remember that from your thingy ages ago.
So you're going to steal from these while there's people watching right there, are you? Also, F2 will give you... your F numbers will correspond to whatever slot that is.
Apparently, no, I won't steal from here.
That one you've been told you can look in. So there's actually a sword and a antidote for someone. So that's Hull's sword. You'll meet him later on.
That's my sword, did you say?
Yes, Neutron. It's your sword.
I want to give these a go.
Oh, look, it's someone wearing a... I just knew that was going to happen.
Quick save successful.
Are you going to talk to him first and learn his... Actually, you know, I've never used guard. Never. So, yeah, in a party it could be useful, but I just manually fight it. Oh, I'll let you murder this and then I'll explain AI. Oh! Oh my god. Achievement unlocked, villain. What have I done? Oh, do you know, I've actually never done a completely evil run of this game, and you are motivating me to try it. Oh, I wonder why he's angry.
As long as he doesn't come after me, he's fine.
Alright.
He's safe for now.
Let's see what happens when, Yeah, here we go. Take time to read this one, it's good. And when you press end dialogue, auto pause will kick in. So the game's paused. You can decide what to do. He moves when you move. Like it's a good system. But you probably just smash him to pieces because you're a fighter.
Unpause.
Okay, critical hit. So when you attack, you essentially roll a 20-sided dice. If you get 20 on that dice, you get a critical hit, which essentially will double and maximize your damage or something. Like, it's just great. If you roll a 1, no matter how good your weapon is, no matter how vulnerable the enemy is, you always miss on a 1. So there's no perfect defense and there's no perfect strike.
Well, that was a damn perfect strike.
Jeez, 24 damage, level 1, you haven't leveled up. Sorry, just read that again. Someone wishes me dead. Yes, well, you've been murdering half of Candlekeep, so it's probably fair at this point.
No, I have no idea why someone would want me harmed.
Sorry. Okay, one sec. What's funny here is she's supposed to come up to you and say, "Oh, you poor thing, you've been hurt." But she's actually gone, "1 second, has he killed any monks?" Yes. Well, guess what?
Guess what? You're next.
Oh, you're just killing everything in one hit. Like, I'm as equally appalled by the fact that you're killing my, childhood characters, but also that you're doing it with such effectiveness at first level. Like, a first level warrior is just the best.
Okay, let's close the gap so she can't run away. And
Funk. Oh, you hit every time. Oh yeah, Gate Warden, he'll sort you out. No, you want to take him at range. Okay, so we got a guy here who's going to be pretty nasty. He's going to try and kill you as best he can. I would rage. I would rage.
Okay.
So when you click that, now press the space bar, it'll cast, and then space. Now, see how it says auto pause, spell cast. Raging counts as a spell. So now you have the ability to attack and, yeah. Oh, okay, switch to, yeah, you got this. I know, he's got armor on. He's harder to hit. God, look how fast you're attacking. What? This is Gate Warden. Oh, I always play slippery, conniving types. Oh my.
That was a pretty bad hit. 8.
He hasn't hit you yet. Now, I'm pretty sure you'll have broken, so you broke another axe, which, incidentally, I have never really seen that many weapons break so quickly. Maybe you're just that angry when you use them. Now, quick note here, right? Your hit points are currently 30. That's because you're raging. You're going to lose that shortly afterwards. So, if you
get those bags that you had for scrolls and spells.
EE Keeper. Yeah, highly recommend using those just because inventory management. Well, if you're playing with a party, it'll be fine, but if you're playing solo, then yeah.
So should I save the game and get EE Keeper and do stuff then?
I would probably restart this game, considering you may have set Gorion, the character who escorts you out of here, hostile. Actually, tell you what. Oh yeah, let's see how you go against a Watcher. Yeah, no worries. Oh, this is terrifying to watch. So, as I said, fighters are always as powerful as they can be. So, they're more reliable effect, and they've got lots of health, and they're designed to do just this. That guy's wearing plate armor. Yeah, that's really good.
I've got 2 hits on him. Oh, someone hit me.
Here we go. Oh no, that was the berserk winding off. But now you're fatigued. So fatigued means you have less combat ability. Not that it mattered then. Now you can't.
Yeah, you said
Oh,
plate
yeah.
armor. Oh,
Yeah,
can't change armor during combat.
Plate is
I
really
can
good.
change my helmet though.
Yeah, how cool does that helmet look?
That's
I'm pretty sure you may have gurked the game. I'm not sure if it'll even let you leave Candlekeep now. It'll be like, oh. Like also, the plot has like massive sympathy for you because you've seen my playthrough, haven't you?
yeah.
You know what happens when you leave. Okay, so considering what awful trauma your character goes through, the fact that you killed everyone first.
Murdering everyone.
There's that laugh, you see.
There's another one here. How
I'm
many
amazed.
of them are there in the city?
I remember these guys being really tough. I haven't really mucked around with watches for a long time in a playthrough. So not only do you hit really hard and have good accuracy, but also you've got like heaps of chances to do a critical hit. So you're seeing critical miss down the bottom. You would never have made that hit. It's just unlucky.
The Watcher.
Yeah.
But they're critical missing on me. It's funny. I'm just regular missing because they've got plate mail.
But of course, multiple opponents get more attacks on you per moment. So being, or if possible, try and. Oh my god, that was messy.
Oi, go and murder him.
Oh, I should explain AI to you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
not
there
like
an auto murder button?
yes, there is an auto murder button, and I'm not sure if it's wise to give you this function, but there is one. Oh my god.
Please.
All right. Okay. So if you go up to records, so the little sideways face. So I usually use the R key, but yeah, go customize. Go to script. So I normally either turn this off or have it doing one specific thing. So for me, I use advanced AI, and I have him constantly searching for traps. Your character can't do this, but you can set your character to run automatically in combat. So you can say, yeah, attack any enemy you see, so it'll switch targets when one dies, and you can get it to prefer either or leave it unchecked, and so it'll keep doing what you're doing. Now, if you says here, use item special abilities, it will trigger them often at bad times, so don't recommend using those. You don't have any spells. So now he will attack constantly as long as there is a red target around him. If you want
a way of turning that off momentarily?
That's exactly it, yeah. You're slowed.
There's another one.
That's Hull. You're supposed to give your sword back to him, and you're going to actually shiv him with it. I would drop an item from your... Oh, no. The first thing you did, hey, this is my like childhood game. I grew up playing this, and I have fond memories. Cool, let's murder every single thing we can find straight away. So your weight's on the left there.
Yeah, this plate mail stuff's heavy.
It
I wanna
is.
sell it.
We
But
could
I
sell
don't know
it.
if I can actually sell it anyway.
Well, you can move slowly now, so I suggest you probably sell it to Winthrop.
Can I sell it to Winthrop?
Well, assuming he'll still do business. Actually, if your reputation gets low enough, then you can't. People won't talk to you, and you'll have enemies spawning on you constantly. So even on an evil playthrough, which I will suggest this is, you need to keep your reputation somewhat higher than completely nothing, or else you can't do a lot.
Come on, hit him.
Switch to your axe. Guaranteed, you're gonna do.
I want to murder him with his sword, though.
Pause for a second and just press I. So you see your Taco is currently... So Taco is really weird. THACO. Yeah, that's your chance to hit. So if you pick up the quarterstaff and put it back on, so from 17 is your current Taco to 20. So you have 3 entire dice rolls better to attack with the axe than anything else. And that's because you've specialized in it. So yeah.
I guess. It would be more fun to murder him with his own weapon, but I'll wait till he gets to low health and then murder him with his own weapon.
I can't wait until you go and see Gorion, because there's a good chance he'll be like, "You're no son of mine, nuke." God, will Imogen talk to you still? Oh, you finally take some damage. Oh. How are you getting damage? What's causing damage resistance? I can't think of what would be causing that. All right, so head up to the left. I want to see what happens with Gorion. Oh no, no, he's stronger than he was before. Oh dear listeners, what have we done? Yeah, that's the lower the better. Yeah, he'll be right.
I don't even want to bother dealing with you. I will if I have to.
He's already tired from killing the... Oh, Immerwin's gone hostile. Your sister. She would... No. No, you can't. Oh, no. You can't. She's like the most endearing and kind person. Tethtorol's going to nuke you. Garion's going to... Okay. This is going to last not very long at all. Okay, when it's a legitimate fight, you try and break that spell as soon as possible. So I'd probably throw an axe at him. But it's probably going to be the end of you. I didn't even say what happened. Okay. Lightning bolt death. There's not even a damage thing there. It's just some kind of scripted thing. Okay, well, I suggest
let's go back to the start.
Oh, look at this. Candlekeep looks so much better without all the blood stains everywhere. Well, I regret to say that I think you know enough to go on your journey. Good luck. Oh my god. All right. Well, how about I leave you here and I'll cut the recording. So, but thanks for watching my videos, and I will watch yours, likely with many questions and concerns. Yeah,
there will be no questions. It will be quite obvious what I am doing.
I can't believe you tried to kill Immerwin. That's just against the rules. You can kill anybody in this game, but not Immerwin. She's so kind.
Yes, I can kill anyone. I do.
And
kill
a helmet.
Everyone.
And a helmet. You gotta have a helmet.
Yeah, I'll get a helmet in a second from a thingy.
Yeah.
Why can't I put...
Oh, in the original game, yeah, Death Throwing Axes. In the original game, you actually couldn't dual wield and then switch to a ranged weapon. So that's actually new functionality. It's opened up all kinds of possibilities. But yeah, I should warn you that this game is a trap, and the community is very...
I don't know what I pressed.
Oh, press 1 again. You must have deselected your character.
Okay.
So, but yeah, look, it's a great game. I loved it growing up, so I hope you enjoy it too.
Oh, I will.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean by that. All right, we'll catch you later on. Yes, you've proved to me that you'll butcher anybody for fun. Remember that Q key. Quick save before you do anything slightly dubious. No, that's the sword key. They aren't.
I'm trying to get rid of the sword.
Right click. No, that isn't how you get rid of the sword key. Oh, 30 damage in his sleep. I have to stop. Well, okay. Well, good luck, Neutron. I'll catch you next time.
Thank you for your help.